Hey guys, welcome back. And today we're talking all about site speed. Site speed is extremely important to your website because fast loading websites rank higher. And not only do they improve user experience, if you have a extremely slow loading website, like think about dial-up back in the 90s, it's actually way less time than that. If your website doesn't load within the first 3 seconds, that visitor that was going to enter your site is actually clicking away to the next site that's showing up on Google. And so you want to make sure that you have a fast website so that way you can have continuous traffic to your website. But also, if you have a slow website, there are things that you can do to increase your website speed and therefore your performance. And one way that you can do that is to optimize your images. I know I touched on this in an earlier lesson, but optimizing your images means you want to make sure that those files are compressed. So you take an image, whether it be, if you had professional photography done for you and your business, so that way you're not using stock photos. You have probably extremely large files from that photographer, and they're probably in a JPEG or PNG format. And so what you want to do is you want to go to a website like TinyPNG or compressor.io, and you want to take that file and you want to compress it down to as small as possible. But the other way that you can kind of ensure that your images on your website are loading extremely fast is to save them in a different format, like WebP. WebP is just, it's best for browsers because the image files are a lot smaller, and having a smaller image size means that it's going to help increase your website speed. So what I would do is I would take my file here. I'm sure I have an image in here somewhere. So I would take this is just a YouTube thumbnail, but this is just for example. So I would take this and I would compress it down, and you can see I saved 67% of space just for this one image alone. So I would take that, I would download it, and then I would go to converteo.co. And then I would choose my file. There we go. And then it can already tell that it's a PNG. And then I would go over here and I would choose WebP. And then I'd click convert. And then you can see that brings the file size down even more, like over here, 480 kilobytes. And now it's 388 kilobytes. So you can see that just by doing that one simple change of changing it from PNG to WebP will automatically bring that file size down. But that's why I would compress it first before you make it over. And I'll show you exactly how different the images look. You can barely tell. So this was the PNG and this is the WebP. See, you can't even tell the difference between the images, and it's going to make your website load that much faster. And as far as like the leverage browser caching goes, it's basically just a way to make sure your website loads faster for people who come back. There's like a super technical way to do it by accessing your HTTP file and adding in a couple lines of code. But if you have WordPress or using like a similar website, there are plugins that you can do that do all the heavy lifting for you. If you're using WordPress, just download a plugin called W3 Total Cache. Just for the beginner's way, just know that there's a plugin that handles that for you. And as far as minimizing server response times, it's all about making sure the backend of your website kind of kicks it into high gear. And the main factor of that is who your host is. If you're paying for one of these super cheap online hosts to host your website, then the chances are that you're probably not getting the best server response time. And using a host like WP Engine, SiteGround, or Bluehost, because those website hosts are actually built for speed and they're worth a couple dollars a month to be able to make sure that your website is responding as fast as possible to your audience. And as far as like another thing you can do for minimizing those server response times, you can use a content delivery network. It's also known as a CDN, but what the CDNs do is they're hosting it locally to your audience. So wherever your audience is located, whoever's looking at your website at the time, if it's somebody in New York City, then they're hosting your website somewhere locally on a New York City server. So that way they're getting that fast response time. It's not waiting for Thailand time. A content delivery network stores your website in areas that are closest to your visitors. It's like having local satellite offices instead of one main headquarters that's very far away. And the reason why this is beneficial is that it really does improve your page load time, and therefore it's not keeping people from clicking off of your website. And another way to kind of optimize your back end of your website is you need to cut the clutter. You know, if you have too many plugins doing too many different things on the back end of your website, that can in turn slow down your website, and that can lead to people not wanting to stay on there, because you have to remember, you might be the most patient person in the world, but if somebody has a website that loads all the information that they need within 2 seconds, they're not going to wait 30 seconds or even 10 seconds for your website. And so that's kind of like leaving money on the table. You want to make sure that you have the fastest website possible, so that way you're solving those problems instead of your top competitor. And just as an example to kind of show you how you can check your site speed, you can actually just Google page speed test, and I'll show you right here. We have page speed test, and then we just click on page speed insights. I'm just going to take 2 of those salon type websites that we were using earlier for other examples to just kind of show you how to kind of see what the page speed insights look like and how it tells you exactly what you can do to make your website better. And so you can see that on performance on mobile device, it's 83, accessibility 90, best practices 96, and SEO is 92. With this right here, you can show that there's still room for improvement, but let's see what it looks like on desktop. So on desktop, performance is 99, accessibility 90, best practices 100, SEO 92. So this tells me that they optimize for desktop first, but Google is actually a mobile first, because a lot of their users are using mobile devices. And so you really want to make sure that your website is optimized for mobile first as well. And so let's scroll down here and let's see. First contentful paint, largest contentful paint. See, the way that you fix this right here is by all those things that we addressed earlier. You want to make sure that you have a host that's delivering your website fast, but you're also sending all of your images and everything like that through that CDN. And this would help clear this up right here and make sure that people are getting your website as fast as possible. And this would in turn also speed up that speed index. And so you would take that 83 and you would turn it into a 90 plus almost instantly, just by making sure that you're using the right host and CDN. And then we can go over here to Goldilocks to just kind of see what theirs looks like as well. And we're going to get into core web vitals in the next lesson. So we'll address this in just a little bit. Okay, and as you can see here, the performance issues have finally loaded. She's got a 48 for performance, 88 for accessibility, 75 for best practices, and 92 for SEO. And that is for mobile device. So let's take a look at what desktop looks like. So she's got a 46 for performance, 85 for accessibility, 78 for best practices, and 92 for SEO. So because Google is a mobile first, we're going to just kind of take a look at their issues with their mobile performance. And so right here, you can see this right here can all be solved by doing what we were talking about earlier. But I know that she uses Shopify, and you know, you might think that you have this one website on Shopify, but there's not different options that you can make. You're kind of stuck, but that's actually not true. One way that you could probably do this, I'm not sure what plan this girl's on or who this company is on, but by using Shopify Plus, you can actually get those faster server response times, and you actually still have the ability to use a CDN with Shopify. They actually offer their own, but you can use one like Cloudflare as well, because they do offer that third-party interaction with the backend of Shopify. So you might think that you're stuck with the web host that you're on if you're selling like WooCommerce through Shopify, but just for a little bit more extra money, they offer those they offer these other capabilities that you can really take more action with your website. And if Shopify, you're finding out that that's not the site for you, which I do find that Shopify is actually a great website, but there are other options that you can do. You can use Squarespace now allows you to sell products on their websites, and those can be kind of simple and they load a lot faster, but you don't get the kind of customization capabilities that you would have with like a Shopify or with WordPress and with WooCommerce. But just showing right there, I just kind of wanted to show you those two examples. So whether or not you have a Shopify store where you're selling products online, or if you just have your typical website with services and a blog, just kind of how your page speed insights can either hinder you or they can help you to make the best version of your website. And that's why I love technical SEO so much, because on page, you can tweak your headlines and you can tweak different things. But as far as like technical SEO goes, it's like there's an actual formula that you can follow to make sure that you're putting your best foot forward with your website. Like if you check these boxes and make sure that you're doing exactly 1, 2, or 3 of these things, the code is all the same. The plugins are all the same. Using the right CDN, using the right host with the right server speeds and everything like that. Those are all things that you can control. And there's not a magic formula to kind of to fix that. It's all by the book. You do these things, you get these results. That's why I love technical SEO so much. And you can see right here with site speed. Most people would just have gone through the site speed lesson and just was like, these are the 3 things that you can do. But no, that's why I wanted to break it down into detail, because just by the sound of it, optimize your image, leveraging your browser caching, minimizing server response times, like that can sound extremely confusing to you, but I just want to show you how easy it can be to take control of the back end of your website. And that's it for site speed. And up next, we're going to be talking about responsiveness. And I know I talked a little bit about Google being a mobile first platform. And so in the responsiveness section, we're going to be discussing how to make your website work on tablets, mobile, and desktop. And I'll see you in the next lesson.